Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome back to another edition of the Meet the Opposition. Today, I'm joined by Chris Webb, Plymouth Argyle fan, ahead of the Blues long trip to Home Park. Top of the league, Chris. Welcome to the show. How would you assess your season so far? It's been a good season for you. 14 games unbeaten. You lost the opening game of the season against Rotherham, but since then, it's been unbelievable. How would you assess the season so far?
Well, hiya Ross, great to join you, mate. Probably in those 4 words you use, top of the league. It's been fantastic. I think when we went last season, we just nosedived towards the end. And I think we picked up hardly any points in the last 10, 15 games and basically, stayed up more by how terrible other teams were than how good we were, So there was a little bit of trepidation, but, it was almost obvious where it sounds it as a football fan, every one of us are a manager, aren't we? It's obvious where the sort of deficiencies were. And we had a really young defence, quite talented, but really young, based on loanees. And Ryan Lowe, the manager's gone out and he's basically brought in a load of seasoned pros at the back. And that's made a huge difference. And then other players who have player like Panucci Kamara, who we brought in from Crawley Town 18 months ago, is really looking like a top level talent. So yeah, that mixture of, I think, experience at the back, of course, including James Wilson, who came from you guys last season, and the development of our younger players. It's proven to be a hell of a mix so far.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, James Wilson, he'll be the big talking point going into this game. Was with us last season, won the Player of the Year last season for us after we, didn't do so well. How's he been for you guys so far? We knew he was a decent player, but is he, as you said, he's shored up your defence, he's got that experienced head, and Connor Grant is another former player as well. So those two players will be the players town fans will be looking at. And yeah, Wilson, he's a great player, isn't he?
He is a great player, and he is like the antidote to the problem that we had last year of like youth, inexperience, like heads down if we let a goal in. He, brings that poise, brings that calmness. There was a little bit of trepidation from the Argyle fans when he signed, looking at his injury record, but touch wood, he's been fantastic. He's been fully fit. He had a bit of a suspension as well due to an off-the-ball incident, and maybe that gave him the break that he needed earlier in the season. But he's been real quality, as have the rest of the back three as well. Brendan Galloway, another player, he was signed from Luton, who released him, but he played at the top level at Everton. Really injury-stricken career, seems to have found his home with us. And Dan Scarr, who when we signed him, we were like, why are we signing players from League Two, from Warsaw? But literally, the guy gets his head on everything. So those back three are solid. And Connor Grant is actually the only player that started the last game under our previous manager and is still in the team now. So he's the only player that's made the transition, and he's quality, and he's got a hell of a left foot. And they play him. He came to us as a centre midfielder from Everton, but Lowe's converted him to a flying left wing back. And what he is really, really good at is set pieces, dead balls. But also, if that ball breaks loose on the edge of the penalty area, he will have a crack. And he's having a good season as well.
That's good to hear. And you name-checked a few players there. So I'll put out the possible Plymouth 11 that you think is going to happen. There's the team. One of the big names there is Hardy. You're the striker. Jeff Cott as well, the big lads. Two very big strikers who scores goals. Will they be our main threat? And who else should we look out for this Saturday?
Yeah, I think with the number of goals and assists they've got between them, and they've got a chemistry as well, Hardy and Jeff Cott. I mean, we've got some, we've got Kieran Agard, who we got picked up from MK Dons. We've also got Garrick, who can play up top, who's rapid. And we've got Niall Ennis, who we got from Wolves, who's injured at the minute. So we have got some like top talent up front, but it does seem as if the chemistry between Hardy and Jeff Cott is the best partnership. So I think they'll stretch the game. Hardy's pace will stretch the game. Jeff Cott holds the ball up well, brings the midfield into it. But in the sort of middle of the pitch, there's a bit of a conundrum because Houghton, who is a critical player for us, sits at the base of the midfield, just in front of the back four. He's suspended, picked up actually quite a few silly yellow cards, so I'm sure he's ruined that. So Lowe has a bit of a conundrum. I'm suggesting maybe he'll bring our captain, Joe Edwards, off the right wing back and sit at the base. He may not do that. But in midfield, we've got possible options of Ryan Broom on loan from Peterborough, a great box-to-box midfielder. We've got Panucci Kamara, who I would really, recommend to town fans to keep an eye out for. He has got some engine, and every team we've played, Touchwood so far, he's overrun their midfield with his energy and his skill, and he's chipped in with a few goals. as well. And of course, not on your screen there is probably our most talented player, naturally gifted, is Danny Mayer, who I know was heavily reported down here when he joined us a couple of summers ago, was in a bit of a discussion with Ipswich as well. So he's on number 10. He may start because Lowe is very loyal to him. But if he doesn't start and he comes off the bench, he offers a big threat, very skillful, carries the ball well. So I think what I will say is we've got a number of really talented players, and I think clearly so of Ipswich. And I think it's going to be an exciting game, big crowd, and everyone's up for it.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an exciting game. What sort of game can we expect, though, from a Plymouth side? You guys like to score. We like to score too. So is it going to be a high-scoring game, or do you think they'll change the game a little bit because they know we're going to be scoring goals? What do you reckon?
No, I don't think, and I don't think it is out of any disrespect to Ipswich, because I think, the manager and everyone at the club would, including the supporters, will recognise that, the history of the club, the way you've started playing and moving up through the league. There'll be that respect for Ipswich. But at the same time, which I think is impressive about this Argyle side, I think we will set up to win the game and we'll come at you. And what that'll obviously, because, I'm sure as someone who follows Ipswich and one of the bigger clubs in the league, sometimes you go away to these clubs and it's 10 men behind the ball and trying to nick a goal. Argyle are not going to set up like that. You're going to come down and you're going to get a game and you're going to get the chance to play football as well, and it'll be like the best team comes out the other end of it. But yeah, we like to get the ball forward quick. We like to get down the wings. The two, it's a back three, it's not a back five. The two fullbacks are bombing forward at every opportunity. And I think the reality is that the three centre halves have a hard job. And that's where Houghton is so critical because he protects them. And I'm hoping that whoever brings in that position can make sure that we have the same sort of support for the back three, because it could be a long afternoon if they're exposed. But yeah, certainly we'll be going for it, and I think it's got the makings. And as you said, you set up to attack. So hopefully, big crowd, big atmosphere, both teams going for it, and hopefully the Green Army can come out on top.
Oh, excited! And well, let's get your prediction then, my friend. Are you predicting goals, or are you going to predict a tight win for Argyle or draw, or what you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, every time, it's one of those seasons so far, Ross, where and I'm sure it's very much similar for Ipswich. I think it's similar for any of us who aren't in the top 2 or 3 in the Premier League and follow those type of clubs where you get, same old Argyle. But there's been several occasions, like, for example, when Sheffield Wednesday came down and we went 1-0 up early doors and you thought, well, they'll come on us in a minute and it's 2-0. They'll come on us in a minute and all of a sudden we're 3-0 up against them. And a couple of weeks ago, we went to Oxford, who hadn't lost at home in their first 6 games, and we beat them 3-1 and hit the woodwork. Probably should have been 4 or 5. So, my Argyle supporting history weighs me down a little bit and says, I think it might be a draw this game. But my newly renewed optimism says Argyle are going to win 3-2 on Saturday.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that goals. Not looking forward if it is a defeat for Town. For away fans going to Home Park, what can you sort of look out for? Any pubs to recommend? Anything to look forward to before the game?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're down in the city early, definitely would recommend heading to the Barbican. So get yourselves down there, enjoy, have a pint by the seafront, take the views in. It's really decent down there. So get down the Barbican, hold yourself up, go down there. If you're looking for somewhere nearer the ground, there's a dare I say it, a Wetherspoons, Britannia, which is reasonable, a 5-minute walk, if that. From the away end, there's a few pubs to avoid, but get yourself in the Wetherspoons if you need a ground, or get down the Barbican and enjoy the sun. What will hopefully be the sunshine of Plymouth on Saturday. But in terms of facilities in the ground, it's a pretty decent ground. It's decent away facilities. You're behind one of the goals. I always think as an away fan that's decent, and you'll have a good turnout because you're a well supported club, aren't you? Clearly.
Definitely. And of course, this is the Paul Mariner derby. Of course, there's going to be a tribute for him on the weekend as well. And it's actually a double header. The Ipswich Town women's team are taking on Plymouth women's team. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend for Town fans, Argyle fans. Chris, thank you so much for joining me. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, I think it's just on the Paul Mariner tribute, Ross, really, is to say that I know there's a group called PAFC Displays who are putting on a massive display pre-match. And I understand they've also got some of that display laid out in the away end as well. So it'll be just to encourage Ipswich fans to take part in that. So we have a real spectacular, message of support to Paul's family, who I understand are going to be attending the game and watching the game. So it's going to be a special atmosphere. 2 good clubs, 2 proper football clubs, 2 proper sets of fans. And hopefully a cracking game, mate.
Definitely indeed. Bring it on. Looking forward to it. A long trip down to Plymouth, but I love Devon. Can't wait. Can't wait to be there. Thanks again for watching, Chris. Thanks very much for joining me. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, your predictions for this weekend. Top of the league, Plymouth versus Town. Bring it on.